I was talking to John, my boss, today, and he was sort of just sort of going on about like, oh, if he had my Photoshop skills, he could probably do this short film that he wants to do. And I said, well, what's the big deal? Just go learn Photoshop. That's the whole point of learning all this stuff. Getting ready for the annual line dance at Westpac, which I've never seen before, and I've been here for 6 years. This is Mark, who's our camera guy. What's your aim today?
I'm trying and keep it in focus. That's my aim.
恭喜发财，新年快乐！恭喜发财，新年快乐！
How's that for you, Tom? Was it good?
Oh yeah, mind-blowing. Just as mind-blowing as it was last year. Year before.
Hey guys, well, it's been an interesting day. Went to work, there was a Chinese line dance, which was pretty cool. Anyway, look, I've got some sad news. Yeah, I remember there was a few vlogs ago where I was talking about how I had this camera. I said I was going to get a power supply to try and fix the issue, and I did. It actually came through. It's right here. But there's a problem. It's not a happy camper. I actually have no idea what the problem is. I've looked online, there's no actual, I've looked in the manuals, there's nothing really. I have a feeling that maybe it might be a dead battery inside it. I might have to try and get inside and see if there's like one of those small like watch batteries in there to actually try and fix that issue. But until then, all my DV tapes are stuck in limbo, in DV purgatory. So there's a small portion of my past that is just not there at the moment, which is a bit sad. I want to get access to some of that stuff because there's some gold in there. Gold in those archives. Anyway, I want to talk about the subject of creativity. The one thing that I would say if you were trying to be a creative person is that you shouldn't wait for inspiration to strike. This is actually something that I got from my friend Glenn Stewart. Now, Glenn Stewart is a creative genius. If you've seen any of his work, it is amazing. He was one of those guys growing up through Powerhouse and through Hillsong that all of us were just in awe of. This guy just had the goods. One of the things I used to watch him do was constantly collect reference and inspiration all the time. I mean, he was just relentless in collecting inspiration. Now, he's not just the only person who does this. If we look at the legendary George Lucas, he borrowed a lot of inspiration, when I mean in quotation marks, borrowed a lot of inspiration from a lot of different sources. He borrowed from mythology, he borrowed from Akira Kurosawa, he borrowed from a whole lot of World War II movies. He borrowed from a whole lot of places and sort of threw them into this melting pot to create Star Wars. And that, to me, is the reason why you need to collect stuff all the time. You know, when you have those moments where you're given a brief and somebody says, just come up with an idea, and you're not ready for it because you don't actually have anything ready to go. You know, when you have those mental blocks of creativity and you're looking around the room, you're looking for something that sparks inspiration. TV, iron, guitar. How about TV iron guitars? So the important thing is that if you're a creative person, it's important to make sure that you continually collect reference material all the time. Did I also try and remember cool things that I like movie trailers that I see, or if there's some sort of graphic design that I like, I try to collect it and put it all into one place so that I remember to go back to it. And you'd be surprised how often that bails you out. You're just stuck for an idea of how to make something look, and then you come across something and go, you know what? I'd like to try that. And I always try to like stuff that I know that I can't do, because in some ways it's always good to try and aim for something. Like, inspirational material always gives you something to aim for, and I think that's really important, that if you are trying to make something new, try to like something and aspire to something that you can't do yet. I was talking to John, my boss, today, and he was sort of just going on about like, oh, if he had my Photoshop skills, he could probably do this short film that he wants to do. And I said, well, what's the big deal? Just go learn Photoshop. That's the whole point of learning all this stuff. It sounds like I'm telling my boss off, but here's an example of a short film I did about 4 or 5 years ago. The aim of this animation was to basically push my 3D skills and figure out how to integrate 2D into 3D. It really took a long time, actually. It took me about 3 or 4 months to actually develop the skills to be able to model something in 3D that I thought looked acceptable to work with the 2D that I wanted to put in. And then I had to figure out how to render the 2D to actually sit in the 3D properly, and also figure out how to match the two sources from the 3D program into After Effects, there was a whole lot of technical hurdles I had to achieve. But after I achieved it, I kind of realized I just inherited a whole bunch of new skills. And funnily enough, when I put this video up, it went viral and it got seen about 300,000 times, which isn't a bad effort. So do a project that's going to challenge you. Do a project that you know you might fail in. Do something that will push your creative skills a little bit further. And you'll be surprised. You do a whole bunch of those projects in the year, you'll be surprised where you were at the beginning of the year and where you are at the end of the year. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Are you right there?
Huh?
You can't help yourself, can you?
Oh, I thought it was someone I knew.
I bet you can't go 10 seconds without turning around to look at the next girl that walks past.
Okay, watch me.
You can't help yourself, can you? I bet you can't go 10 seconds without turning around to look at the next girl. I bet you can't go 10 seconds without turning around to look at the next girl. I bet you can't go 10 seconds without turning around to look at the next girl. I bet you can't go 10 seconds without turning around to look at the next girl.
Finish him.